Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a wildlife biologist, and I think a lot about Nebraska's landscapes. Our landscapes are productive, and they're unique. And the things that happen on our landscapes are largely a result of a change in a market. If we think about the current landscapes of Nebraska, there are some troublesome trends if we're honest with ourselves. 75% of our land base is used to grow three commodities. They're important commodities, and we use the words feeding the world a lot. And when we do so, we give priority to the productive values of landscapes that you can monetize with cash, as opposed to the natural services that ecosystems provide that are typically harder to monetize. Our productive yet simple cropping systems have created landscapes that are less suitable for many wildlife species, including our state bird, the western meadowlark, and a popular game bird, the ring-necked pheasant. And nitrates have increased in our drinking water supply. Our neighboring state, Iowa, is home to Des Moines, who has sued to protect their drinking water. So these trends and others suggest that in the future, as production rises to feed a world, we're going to have to be more proactive in how we manage our landscapes in Nebraska. And certainly one of the problems is that most of Nebraska doesn't live in the landscape that you see here. They live in cities, but city dwellers are still interested in what happens on farms and ranches. Traditionally, the public has had three ways to purchase their way or buy their way back into decisions that are made on these rural spaces. First of all, we can regulate. That's a cheap, easy fix, but regulation, as we all know, is very difficult in agriculture, logistically and politically. We can use public funds to create incentive programs, but those come at great cost to taxpayers. We could also use public funds to potentially purchase unique landscapes in Nebraska to create something like a National Wildlife Refuge. We did this after the Dust Bowl, but doing this today would be probably politically disastrous. For an alternative, come with me to one of my favorite places on Earth, Southern Africa, to the country of Namibia. By the 1970s, wildlife had all but disappeared on the farms in Namibia because it was seen to compete with cattle for grass resources. Farmers could clear out the predators and all of the grazing wildlife on their lands and sell their land at auction wildlife free for a premium price. This system caused disastrous effects to the ecosystem. The innovation was that Namibians determined that they could give value to wildlife, and suddenly wildlife could be sold at the butchery, just like cattle. Farmers brought those animals back to the farm, and the neighbors often joined together to create economic zones where ecotourism flourished, and people now come from all over the world to pay to access wildlife in Namibia. Can we use markets in similarly interesting ways in the US to restore our landscapes? Carbon markets have potential to preserve grasslands, save soil and water, store carbon, and slow climate change. Markets for wetland easements provide an opportunity to link the nearby urban residents to pay for the habitat restoration that they're interested in to filter the nitrates from their drinking water that they're concerned about. And ecotourism markets provide an opportunity for those same urban residents to access both beautiful landscapes as well as wildlife. There are people that are afraid of using markets for conservation. But I ask you in that conversation to consider the landscape changes that you see on this 1 square mile in Clay County, Nebraska. Those changes were made because of market forces. And we know that people have joined together in Namibia and other places around the world to create markets that are useful to solve conservation problems. We need to be more proactive in how we use our landscapes in Nebraska. I hope we have a good conversation about that because we need our landscapes for tomorrow. Thanks.